Hello, everyone. Welcome back to our bi-weekly podcast, Love Your Love Muscle. Good to see you all here live. We do a live recording, and then the recording is being sent out as a podcast later this week. So, everybody that is live on Telegram and Second Life, good to have you here. Glad you could join, and happy Easter. What do everybody thinks now that is live? It's not Easter, but can you imagine all the people that now reached for their devices and looked at their screens like, what, did I pick the wrong podcast? Did I download the wrong one? So I'm just joking. It's not Easter. It's Christmas soon. So I hope to see you before Christmas and I can wish you a Merry Christmas in time. So yeah, but that's what happens. I know we have a lot of people that download the podcast. We have around 1,000 people every other week because we're bi-weekly that are downloading the podcast. So wonderful. Thank you so much for all your support and this year as well. And thank you for all the feedback from Hawaii to Australia. It's very nice to get a message now and then and hearing that you are appreciating what I am doing here, what we are doing here, because we are a group, we are the Transformational Meditation Group. So it's not only me doing this, we have also support from our Patreons, especially that are hopefully downloading the video recording of this. And from next year off, we'll most likely be doing live sessions on Patreon directly. Because our Patreon support is growing, we have new members coming in regularly, and I want to do more on Patreon so people that are paying a little bit to support us actually get good value back, and that value is growing every year, I must say. So there are a lot of benefits becoming a patron. I'm not going to bore you with that in this podcast because then we'll sliding off to different topics, but just go ahead to the website, the Patreon website, and you can see for yourself what we're publishing there several times a week, more often than not. So go ahead, and you can also become a free member now. So you don't have to pay anything, you don't have to do a subscription, and there's some content for free members as well. So don't worry about that if you're not able to support financially. You can also support just by becoming a member and enjoying what we put out there for free. Today's session is all about rest in peace, or RIP. Normally it's being translated as rest in peace. I would say this time release in peace. We're going to talk about releasing emotions and why is that important. In my private practice, I now and then get people that are afraid of expressing or running through their emotions. So something has happened. They take it in with their senses, of course, and they stop there. It gets stuck in, I would say, their body, in their nervous system, in their being, and they don't let it through. So because it can be conditioned, especially with us guys that have learned from the old days that, oh, big boys don't cry, It's very easy then to create a pattern inside yourself where you get an emotional reaction, but you stop. You keep it inside of yourself, but you don't process it. Because if you process it, you are going to show yourself as being weak, maybe, not strong enough, you're a crybaby, or even you're not allowing yourself to get angry even. And angry, I mean not expressing the anger in that you're smashing the house into pieces or doing other stuff that demolition and violence, but anger with releasing it. You don't want to release it the way it's supposed to be. And if you get the building up, especially frustration and anger, if you're a guy, and some women do this as well, they don't process it in uh, a good way, I would want to say, then it's just stuck, it becomes more and more, and then you can explode into rage, for example. That's a difficult balance there. So some people have a punch bag. That will help, of course. You don't do any much damage because maybe your own hands, but that's it. But it's also a form of releasing, especially frustration. The recent times with stress, which is also an emotion, they have stress balls, but uh, they work with their hands. They clench their fists together around the stress ball and then release again and release the stress with that. Those are all ways of running through your emotions, expressing them and releasing them as well. So that's what we're going to do today. We're going to do an exercise, a guided meditation to not rest in peace, but release in peace. So like I said, people coming to my practice often, I notice that they have experienced things that generate emotions, but then they stop. And emotion is energy in motion. So what do you do when you stop that motion? You put all the energy inside of you and it gets stuck there. And if you don't release it, it can express itself in different ways. It can express itself as disease even. But also if you notice that you're overthinking a lot or just running around with those thoughts and that emotions in yourself, in your mind, replaying everything and never getting rid of it, it becomes even stronger and stronger, building up because you're feeding the energy by constantly replaying it, not being able to let it go, not being able to process it in a way that is good for you. So that's what we're going to focus on today. So instead of just stopping, letting it stop inside of you, we're going to release it, and not release it as getting rid of it, but releasing as letting it through, overcoming it. We are in a way letting the energy become information and release the emotional part of it. So we learn from it, we process it, we give it meaning, or we say, hey, this doesn't make sense anymore, this doesn't serve me. We become aware of that, we accept it and let it go. So I would say, let us get started, right? Let me see. Aquarius, good to see you on Second Life. And I see some more people coming in on Telegram as well. Wonderful. Okay, so sit up straight, find a comfortable position. Well, I'll catch my notes. For those that are live, you might want to use some background music. For those that are listening to the recording, the background music will be provided to you. So don't worry about that. Okay. I have to say, well, you find a good position, that it's important, emotional release. Not getting rid of it, but running through it in that way, I would say it. Release in peace. Okay, find a comfortable position. Take a deep breath in through your nose and out through your mouth. And lower your shoulders, loosen your jaw. Feel yourself getting centered and ready for this session. Take a nice deep inhale again through your nose. Exhale through your mouth. Let more of the day go. Release the day. You don't need the day right now. This is just a time for yourself, for self-care, self-love. Alright, maybe one more time, a nice deep inhale through your nose. All the way in and out through your mouth. You can sigh a little bit. Also release the day, let the day go. Feel yourself getting centered, not disturbed by your surroundings or any thoughts or feelings that might disturb you. Let it go. Pause them. Get to yourself and in this moment. Breathe normally and try to breathe a little calmer and a little deeper. Lower that frequency of your breathing pattern. And this is just to tell your body that it is in a safe place. Just breathe calmer and deep. Nice, calm, deep breaths. Wonderful. So today we explore the concept of emotional release, and we use the metaphor of a muscle. So just as our physical muscles need both tension and release to grow stronger, our emotional capacity follows a similar pattern. I want you to move the focus to your heart space. Become more aware of your heart. You can think of your heart not just as a physical organ, but the emotional center of your being, as a muscle. So when we hold on to emotions too tightly, it's like keeping that muscle contracted indefinitely. And this creates tension, strain, and eventually exhaustion. Let's practice together as you breathe in through your heart. Just imagine that. And as you breathe in through your heart, notice any emotions you're holding. Could be joy, sadness, anger, love. Just observe, don't judge them. So breathe in through your heart. Just notice any emotions and just observe them, don't judge them. As you exhale, imagine giving these emotions space to move through your heart, move through you, like relaxing a tense muscle. Let your emotional grip soften. It's not about pushing away, but just letting it go through, allowing them to flow naturally. So breathe in once more. Notice an emotion that might be stuck, sadness, anger, something that doesn't serve you anymore. And as you breathe out through your heart, let that energy flow through it. Let it flow naturally. Beautiful. Just continue a few more breaths. Now remember, emotional release doesn't mean losing control. It's about creating space, like stretching that muscle, that resilience muscle, increase flexibility and strength, When we release, when we let those emotions go through ourselves, that energy go through ourselves, we actually become more capable of experiencing deeper emotional connections as well. We learn from it by releasing and letting that information, that energy go through us. Okay. Now once more, breathe in deeply through your heart or just through your nose, acknowledging any emotion present. Hold briefly and create a gentle container for this feeling that you're having right now. And as you exhale, visualize the emotion like water flowing freely, neither forced nor restricted, and notice the space this creates within you. Wonderful. Do it once more. Breathe in deeply, acknowledging any emotion that's present, good or bad, doesn't matter. And hold it briefly like you're holding it into a temporary container. And then exhale and visualize that emotion like water flowing freely, letting it go, releasing it. Just let it go its natural flow. And notice that it frees up space inside of you. Now some emotions might feel stuck or restrained to release, resistance. That's perfectly normal. It's just as a tight muscle that needs some extra tightening and releasing to get loose. It needs some patient stretching. Emotional release is a practice of kindness and patience with ourselves. You don't need to force anything. You just need to stop the tension, open up, and let it go through us, releasing it gently. And if those emotions, those feelings make you feel overwhelmed, just remember that release is not about getting rid of emotions, but about creating a healthy flow. Emotion is energy in motion. We need to keep that motion going, that flow going. We need to allow ourselves to experience life, the good and the bad things. And we need to let that life run through us. Like a river, an emotion needs both movement and some still pools, but it also needs movement. So our whole life thrives on this emotional balance. Wonderful. So as we close this practice slowly, take a moment to appreciate your heart's capacity for both holding and releasing. This is the dance of emotional wellness, the constant flow between engagement and releasing, between holding, letting go. It's okay to hold on to an emotion. It shouldn't get stuck. It should flow through us. We can get ready for the next experience in our life. Those things don't pile up inside ourselves and cause trouble. And remember that you can return to this practice whenever you need to create space in your emotional body each release, like I said, makes room for new experiences, new connections, and even a deeper understanding. If we don't release our emotions, if we don't run through them, we are not learning from them. The information stays stuck as well. Beautiful. Now breathe normally again. If you were breathing through your heart, become more aware of the room you are in, more aware of any sounds in the room, and just notice how you feel right now before you open your eyes. Maybe you want to wiggle with your fingers and toes. Move your body a little bit. Maybe you sense already some relief. Beautiful. Now when you're ready, open your eyes. Welcome back. Welcome back. So a little recap, what did we do? So again, we acknowledge our heart as our emotional center, and even scientists can measure that in the electromagnetic field our heart creates. Every emotion, every feeling we have, every thought we have changes the frequencies and the amplitudes and the wave patterns in that electromagnetic field around us that our heart creates. So it correlates very nicely with our feelings and emotions. And by what we now do is that stored emotion, that stored energy that gets stuck, and all the new emotions and energies that get stuck and pile up one by breathing into our heart, focusing on our heart and breathing into our heart, picking up one of those emotions, one of those feelings that are stuck, and breathing out, releasing it, running through it, letting it flow out. Don't put that pressure anymore on it. Allow it to flow through you, and thereby releasing it. That makes sure that you pick up the information and the emotion can run freely through you and outside of you, because the emotion in itself is something that needs to flow. The information is something that needs to get up in our head as learning, like, oh, this happens. That's life. Life should run through you. Life is, emotions and feelings are part of life. And we should allow ourselves to feel them, good or bad. We are often so stressed and so busy with only focusing on the good emotions and suppressing the bad emotions, the things that makes us feel bad. But while the bad feelings are, we can learn from them and we can regulate and turn them into a positive experience by learning from them. So keeping the information from them, but the negative feelings we can let go, we can release. And actually, are you holding on to positive emotions? Because you let them flow through you, right? Think about it. Positive emotions, laughter, joy, appreciation. That's not something we keep inside ourselves. It's something we express often. Like we begin to smile, we begin to laugh, we begin to play around, be joyful. We lighten up. We are running through those. Like, oh yeah, look at me, I'm happy, right? Why can't we do this with our negative feelings and emotions? We also have to run through them, because that's also part of life. We have to allow that to run through. And we can learn from that. And the moment you are able to overcome a negative emotion, like for example, frustration, anger, fear, when you let that run through you, when you allow yourself to experience that fully, you will notice that you train yourself to experience those, and you will notice that you also are able to deal with them in a much more mature and balanced and productive way. So instead of the frustration getting over into anger and rage and you're destroying the house or whatever you do, like really making things worse than it is, you allow yourself to just let that feeling go through you, releasing it, and get an understanding that you maybe also can change your reaction. You get your little pause in between trigger and reaction, like I often say. And you can play around with it and do something different and make a negative emotion or frustration turn into something positive. And once you get the hang of that, once you get that feeling like, oh wow, that sweet spot, you know what I'm talking about. Then you know, okay, I can do this with not only frustration, anger, but also with sadness, with fear. Let experience it. It's part of life. So yeah, that's the message for today. I hope you enjoyed this. I noticed there was some break in the connection to Telegram, but it picked up again afterwards. But just know that the recording will be announced, so you can listen, and for those on Patreon, you can watch the recording at least tomorrow already. So we got you covered in case of technical difficulties. So yeah, I hope you enjoyed this session and I hope to see you back again in 2 weeks. I hope that doesn't is in the middle of any holidays. Something is happening when you meditate a lot like me. Time is like, yeah, time. A day is a day. Not really like, oh, is it Christmas already? Or when is Christmas? Doesn't really matter. You just live life. So I hope to see you back soon, at least. And I hope then in 2 weeks. And in the meantime, take care, be safe, and allow yourself to run through your emotions and feel your emotions and experience life to the fullest. All right? Take care, be safe, and namaste. Bye, everyone.